Hey, Not Lucky here. So we're going to do a brief tutorial on the foam roller today. So I get a lot of questions about foam rollers, kind of the basics of how to use them. So we're going to go over the basics today. So first thing with the foam roller is you just need to get one. And there's a bunch of different types. This one is nice and kind of chartreuse, shows up well on camera. I like it because of that. It's got some knobby things. There's smooth ones. They're all going to do about the same thing. I have this other one that's kind of a torpedo that's a little bit harder. You get into some little more intricate areas overall. But just get a basic one, you know, like 18 incher, 36 incher. They're all going to be pretty good. So what a foam roller does essentially is it helps just kind of calm down, tone down the muscles a little bit. So we're getting the muscles to relax and we're getting the tissues to glide a little bit. Sometimes tissues, especially in very tight muscles, get a little sticky, they stick together, they don't glide too well. So we're going to use the foam roller to help sort of get those tissues to loosen up and glide a little bit better. We're going to get some blood flow, we're going to get some stimulation, we're going to breathe while we do the foam roller and just relax. So the areas that I like to work on that I find and most people need the most work and are really tight, kind of toned up, are basically the calves, the quads, and the hip flexors, and then also the lats and the chest. So we're just going to cover all those. There's a lot of different areas that you can cover. Certainly you can kind of experiment and move around on the roller, find some areas that are tight, work on those areas. But we're going to work on kind of like the big hitters in my opinion. So the first one is going to be the calf area. So for the calf, we're going to just place the roller underneath the muscle. And typically with the foam roller, we're kind of working on the belly of the muscle or kind of the middle of the muscle overall. That's where we're going to be able to apply some pressure and help that muscle sort of relax a little bit. So we get our calf on there and we're going to prop up using our hands and then just roll around a little bit there. So I'm getting some different angles. So I'm going to get the outside area, I want to get the middle area, I want to get the inside area, and I'm just kind of hunting around for those tight spots. If I don't really find anything, great, just like 5 or 10 rolls. If I find a spot, let's say like, oh, right there, I've got a spot, I'm going to take that other leg and put that on top, pin that down a little bit, get a little bit more pressure, and then I'm going to move that ankle around. I got a nice ankle crack there too. Moving the ankle around. So there I'm having a little pressure on the tissue. I'm moving it around and trying to get that tissue to move around a little bit. Circle sound effects, always optional. So doing some circles, doing some flexion extension like that. And I'm breathing too. I want to ideally kind of breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth, trying to get a little relaxation there. So now we're going to move on to the quads and the hip flexors. This is a big, long area, so I like to think of breaking this up into thirds. So we want to do kind of the bottom half, the middle, and the top, because there's a lot of muscle in here, there's a lot of space, a lot of real estate. So I like to go one leg at a time on this. So I'll do this leg closest to the camera. I'm going to start down close to the knee. And again, I'm going to hunt around in there a little bit. I'm going to get the outside a little bit, see how that feels, the middle, the inside, just moving around, finding kind of where I need the work. That feels pretty good. I'm going to go up towards kind of that middle third. And again, just sort of hunting around, doing some nice little short rolls, feeling around. So I've got a tight spot right there. So again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave a little pressure on that spot, and then I'm going to flex and extend that knee. And there again, I'm trying to relax and breathe. Trying to move those tissues, get them a little less sticky. And just like 5 or 6 of those, and then I'll move on. Now I'm up to the top third. Here I'm getting kind of in the hip flexor area. If we sit a lot, those hip flexors get really tight. There, that feels pretty good. Again, if you feel a tight spot, you can let it sit there and do a little bit of that knee flexion, extension, just like that. So that gets our quad. Moving on to the upper body, the lats, so this area kind of underneath the armpit into the back and side a little. So for that, I'm going to lie down on the side. I'm going to get underneath the underarm. I'm going to roll back just a little bit. So I want to get on that big meaty part. in there. This is one of the biggest muscles in our body. There's a lot of real estate there. So again, I'm gonna hunt around a little bit. There, I'm gonna roll back, hunt around there a little bit. Maybe go a little lower. And looking for a little tight spot. There's a little tight spot right there. And so here, I'm gonna leave that there and do a little circle. A little circle. That's gonna help loosen up some of that tissue. Circle, just like 5 or 6 in each direction. And that's starting to feel pretty good. And then just kind of moving on. Maybe I'll find another space, do those circles again, 5 or 6 in each direction. And lastly, this one gets really tight if we sit a lot, is the pec. So for the pec, we want to be on the ground like this. So diagonal, and the arm's going to be like that. So right across those fibers. So I'm going to go to the floor in that position. There. And this is a really short little area. So I'm just rolling just like an inch or two, back and forth. And most people are going to find a lot of tightness, stiffness in this. So there, I feel a pretty solid little bit of tightness. And then again, I'm going to do a little arm circle. I'm going to lift that arm up, do a little circle there, or you can just kind of go up and down there, trying to get a little more length and movement in that tissue. All right, so that's it, foam rolling in a nutshell. So the main big areas, like I talked about, the calf area typically gets really tight, quads, hip flexors, lats, kind of this underarm area, and then the pec area, especially kind of right there, going across those fibers. And we're just trying to breathe. We're trying to get some movement in those tissues, let those tissues relax, lengthen, loosen up a little bit so we create some space, so hopefully we can find some more ranges of motion overall. So thanks for tuning in on this. This is, again, something that I get a lot of questions about, and I'd like to kind of start a little more of a series of, if you have questions on different things like foam rolling, questions with exercise, mobility, nutrition, whatever it is, I'd love to answer your questions. So shoot me a message and ask your question, and maybe I'll feature it in a future video. Thanks for watching.